couple crazy things from earlier today before we dive into some breaking news. I hosted Fair Territory today with Ken Rosenthal. It was a blast. I got to do my first ever Dude and Dork of the Week.
Who'd you choose?
Dude was Kirby Yates.
Okay.
Dork was Jim Murray. Both very, very deserving of their awards. But two things that stood out from that. One is it's just weird. We were doing 5 intriguing teams to follow this offseason. And we're talking Padres. And then I looked down at my phone because Grill and Ken was going to be next. So I was starting to look to see what Grill and Ken questions there were. And then it was like, breaking, Padres hire Craig Stammen. I was like, that's weird. And number 2, this is for AJ. Ken at the top of the show called me Emperor and wanted you to know that. He was like, I'm on with the Emperor of Foul Territory.
The Emperor?
That was the word he used. I was like, hey, I like to try and be humble, so I'm not going to use that, but I will use that just in my later show. And he said, please do.
No, Ken must be really looking for a leader. He's really searching far and wide for a leader for him. But wow.
Yeah, Emperor.
Wow, Ken. Ken, you need to quit texting me.
I told him to come up with
better name for you
and something for you maybe by the next time we have him, which I believe is
tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, he can come up with something for me tomorrow.
Yeah. It'll be easy for him to come up with something tomorrow because you won't have a response. You'll have to wait till Monday. So anyway,
yeah,
off-season means a little more back and
just
forth.
Wait till he gets to Orlando for the winter meetings. I'm going to pick him up and put him in my pocket and carry him around for a few days.
We need to.
He will be my number 2.
Yes.
At some point, we need to talk about winter meetings, like a guide to Orlando for everybody coming to the winter meetings. That might be your favorite segment ever. It's in a month.
I know, but the problem is where they stay. There's not much around there.
Well, you have use your car, drive around, take an Uber. Ubers are cheap around Orlando.
You need Ubers because it's not really around much.
Okay, just for some context, since I've got the New York City and Orlando balance going, 2 blocks on any rideshare service in New York is equivalent to like a 30-minute ride in Orlando. Just to give context on how easy it is to grab a car and spend $20 or whatever to go somewhere versus New York 2 blocks. Traffic, you get out, you're like, actually, I could have walked.
But the problem is where I think it's in that JW Marriott.
Is that where it is?
I think it's at JW Marriott.
I didn't check the hotel. Okay.
Which is one of the great, hilarious things of all time about Orlando and Disney World. So Disney World has this massive property, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hundreds of thousands of acres. Well, there was a guy back in the day that heard that Walt Disney was going to build Disney World here, and he hated Walt Disney. So he bought a bunch of acres right in the middle of his plot first, and he has it where you can never build and never be sold to Disney. So in the middle of this big, gigantic expanse of Disney World, there's a circle. It's called Bonnet Creek, and there's like a Waldorf, there's a JW Marriott, and there's another hotel, and they're not part of Disney, but they're in the middle of Disney property, and they can't ever be owned by Disney. It was like the biggest FU to Walt Disney of all time. He literally has this giant property in the middle with a golf course, multiple hotels, all this stuff, and it's right there in the middle. And that's where I think the winter meetings are. And then to get anywhere, you have to go out.
Yeah.
Out.
There's a rooftop restaurant where I've been a couple times and everybody watches the Disney fireworks because they've got prime view.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I mean, it's right. You can watch this in my backyard if you want.
But they're like right
there. I know. Yeah.
They're in the property.
I mean, talk about an FU to some, yeah.
That's good.
Oh, yeah. And he has it like in it, when he died, he had it in his will that it can never be sold to Disney, ever. I mean, it would be prime hotel property for Disney.
Yeah, they would spend anything to get that back.
Exactly.
Wow, that's good. All right, so we'll do an Orlando primer at some point to talk more about everybody coming down here in a month. But let's get to breaking news. Charging the mound. Craig Stammen is the next manager of the San Diego Padres. 41 years old, spent the last 6 seasons of his big league career, a long one, as a reliever with the Padres. And this one comes out of left field. 3-year contract with Stammen and the Padres. He's been working for the team since he retired. So 2023, 24, and 25 as a special assistant to the general manager. And he worked a little bit with the major league team, a little bit with the minor league team. What do we think about this? Then we'll get to the Pujols and anyone else that was in the running factor. But what do we think about Craig Stammen, a young Craig Stammen, taking over in a big-time role like this with some big personalities and a team that is expecting to be in their winning window still?
this is the new way. This is, they say in The Mandalorian, another Disney reference, this is the way. You get into an organization and you become a special assistant to the manager, the GM, the owner. And then when they have a job opening, they hire you because they already know you and you've already told them all your ideas. And they're like, I like his idea. And and then they can say, oh, well, I've heard him talk about this. I like that idea, or I like this, or I like that. And then this is kind of the way. And then also they say, oh, wait, I already know him, so I can tell him what to do. We have the same ideas on everything. And then we do, this and that. So, I mean, I hope it works for the Padres. We'll see. But I don't know. Craig Stammen has always come across as a smart guy and a nice guy, but we'll see. I mean, he's been there for a couple of years now, so they know him better than we do. But good luck.
Everybody I know that played with him says, incredible dude. My biggest hang-up anytime a pitcher gets a managerial job, it is hard to probably one of the biggest things of managing a team is how you manage your bullpen. So he knows that part of it. He knows, when guys lie, when guys don't lie, how far to push some guys, how far he could be pushed. So I think he's got great insight on that, great experience on that. But how much does he know the other ins and outs of being in the dugout? I'm not talking about X's and O's of baseball. I think you can learn that at the bench coach that does all that. But how much does he know the ins and outs of pushing a Manny Machado, pushing a Xander Bogaerts, pulling back the reins on a Fernando Tatis? Like, that's the kind of stuff that he's going to have to navigate. That I think sometimes pitchers don't always have the experience, the insight. He's been in the organization, so he knows how the organization works. Great dude. Sounds like he's an incredible people person. But to make a political reference, back when George Bush was finding a vice president, he hired Dick Cheney to be his vice president after he had hired Dick Cheney to be the person to go find him his vice president. So is this what happened with Craig Stammen? Craig Stammen was in on all the managerial meetings, and he's like, pretty good. It's pretty good. And he just took everybody's ideas, and he's like, I'll be the manager.
I don't know. I mean, again, this is another fascinating hire because who's his coach is going to be? That's what this all comes down to with Vitello, Butera, and now Stammen. All these guys that really have no experience ever being in the dugout of a major. Not that Stammen hasn't been in the dugout, but I mean like running a team, not a coach. Who are they hired to help them? That's the biggest. That's what I want to see. Like, what's their network like, and who can they bring in that they trust to help them run the bullpen? I know Niebla is probably going to stay there, so I'm assuming Stammen's just going to be like, Ruben, you run the pitching staff, and I'll just take care of the other side of it. But who's going to be their bench coach? Who's going to be this guy? Who's going to be that guy? That's the things to me that are fascinating about these hires. Is can it work? Absolutely. But they've also never had to make decisions. Do I bring in a pitcher? Do I pinch hit? Do I do this? Do I do that? How do we do this? There's a million things that happen so fast. And I think every manager you talk to that does this for the first time is amazed by how fast the game actually goes when you're sitting in that seat. And you better have somebody sitting next to you that, one, you can trust, you can have arguments with and get over it, and also know that they have your best interest and also the team's best interest in mind. Because, Kratz, I'm sure you played on teams, and I've been around it where coaches don't always mingle because sometimes guys have different motives and, because they're like, oh, maybe if he gets fired, I can slide into that job, right? Like, so, I mean, there's always ulterior motives, and that's the thing that's fascinating is how do you find the right guy to be by your side through thick and thin?
Maybe Craig has somebody like that. Maybe
again, I don't know.
I don't know, but I know Ryan Flaherty was on that staff. I'm not sure his status now, but he's been interviewing for some jobs. Ruben Niebla, I think, was actually in the running for this job. So do you bring two coaches back that didn't get the job that they wanted, and now they're just being on your staff instead of being the head honcho? I saw one time we had a bench coach, and I won't, because I'm not going to I'd love to throw the one person under the bus, but I'm not going to throw the other guys under the bus. The bench coach, and then there was like a big league coach on this team that the manager would look past the bench coach. They would all stand, all three, right on the rail and look past the bench coach for the other guy's opinion on subjects. And the bench coach, incredible, very talented, knew the game, all that stuff, and he just had to stand there and just it was so awkward. It changed the next year, but it was so awkward to see him always like, hey, what do you think about this? Hey, what do you think about this? And the bench coach was like, and anytime he spoke up, it was bad news. But it's so awkward. So hopefully that doesn't happen.
How do you think a recently retired player will do who has spent time now in the front office and I would assume is on the same page as AJ Preller with this particular ball club? This is a team that expects to keep winning. It is a party. It is an awesome scene. We've talked about this in San Diego. They fill that place up. The fan base is rabid and they want more winning. I don't know what they'll do this off season yet. I don't think they're going to spend like crazy, AJ, but this is the type of team in my mind that has some veterans who are strong personalities. And I don't want to say necessarily had a say in this, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were conversations. Manny Machado has been there for a long time. He really likes to be involved with the leadership portion of a team. I'm assuming that he gave 2 thumbs up on this one.
Yeah, he would have to.
Mm-hmm.
He would have to. Now, did he play with Stammen there as a player when Manny got there, or was he already gone?
I'll check that while you're talking about it.
Because, yeah, listen, there's probably 2 people on this team you really need to get. Well, there's probably 3, actually. Manny,
Yes, he did.
Fernando, and I would have said Yu Darvish, but Yu Darvish is out for 26, so I would have said those are probably the 3 people you would have. They did play together.
They crossed.
Okay, so they know each other, so they have a relationship prior to this. So I think that I think they definitely had to ask probably those 3 guys before they made this hire, because Manny has a lot of pull. He had a lot of pull, especially when Peter's side there was alive. He had a lot of pull. You could go to the owner and just get anything done. So I like the fact that they probably involved players. We don't know that for sure, but it just sure seems like it was part of it.
Okay. Good luck to Craig. We'll learn more about how that all went down. Next layer for the last couple minutes. Albert Pujols will be shut out from a manager role. There were a ton of openings. The only one left is the Rockies. As Ken said on Fair Territory, he does not want that. I wouldn't call it smoke. Fog. So he's not going to be a manager to start 2026. He will manage the Dominican Republic team in the World Baseball Classic. Yeah. But are you surprised that he didn't get one of these, especially after the
I thought he was going to go to the Angels. I thought Angels was going to be the one.
Right. And you just said, hey, work with a team, then they bring you on. Artie was interested, but the owner of the Angels might have offered him a 1-year deal or a game-by-game
deal. Who's also got a new GM this year? That team that Albert played for a long time.
Cardinals?
Bingo.
Yeah, but Yachty wants that job too. And Ollie Marmol might.
No, I know. Listen, I mean, Chaim Bloom, though, is new. Ollie Marmol, I love Ollie Marmol.
Mm-hmm.
But new GM, new front office, new everything. Maybe Albert sits out for a year and says, hey, look what I did for the Dominican in the World Baseball Classic, much like Mark DeRosa does all the time, tooting that thing to try to get a job, right?
Well, he has to sit out now.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying he sits out and he says, oh, well, I really wanted to go to St. Louis the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know, but like I thought he was going to get the Angels job. Everyone was saying that he was going to get the Angels job.
Yeah, and he didn't. Kratz, question for you on Pujols. Do you think that he should spend this season on a major league coaching staff? I don't know if he will. He does some TV work. He's doing the WBC, and it gets complicated. He shouldn't be worried about money, but he'd probably have to give up the $1 million for a $150,000 coaching contract instead. Should be no big deal if the long-term goal is manager. I'm just saying the Angels do have that situation by the balls to some extent. But if you were him and you really want to manage, shouldn't he try to link up with a team this year? It might be too late because most of the coaching staffs have been picked. But your thoughts?
100%. I think he went through you have to interview first. My buddies who have become managers are like, look, the interview process is different. Like, it's long. It's not like, oh, I can't handle it, but it's exhausting because it's just, they put a situation, the lineup, what the record of the team is at the time, and then a situation that happens in the clubhouse, and then, this is going on during the game. How would you handle this? And you have like an hour to figure it out. It's like basically taking tests. Now he's gone through that. To me, whatever reason he didn't get the job, like if it's with the Angels, he didn't get the job because he was like, no, you're still going to pay me my $1 million that I would have gotten, and you're going to pay me like a regular manager. Maybe he isn't that far off of being a manager. If the other teams are like, we're going to go in another direction. It's not me, it's you kind of thing. He needs to work on that kind of stuff. And I, never being a manager, but only talking to my buddies who have managed and are working towards being managers, being on the bench matters so much. It matters to your street cred with players. It matters to how you figure out. Albert's been out of the game for a few years. Things change. You figure out how to deal with the new player. And I think Albert has to learn how to talk to the 20 to the 26th man on the roster. Not saying he didn't when he played. I'm just saying superstars, that will always be their hurdle when they go to be a manager.
Some of these hires or candidates like Albert could have a high ceiling, but he also could have a low floor. Craig Stammen being part of the org now for multiple years, knowing the guys like that, gives him a higher floor than Albert Pujols. I think that's part of this. Like, hey, what's the best and worst case scenario here for a team that's contending for a playoff spot? I think that's a factor when they made their decision.
But again, when does this work out? We asked this about the Blake Butera thing. When does this work out? When does a Hall of Famer step in to being a manager without any experience and it work out?
Yeah, not often. Albert has some people very much on his side that think he's going to be great, but nobody made the choice this time around. Okay. Coming up next, we're going to continue our offseason to-do list. Third team on the list is the Chicago Cubs. We'll give you their top 3. Patrick Mooney on line 1. Omaha Steaks is the official sponsor of tailgating.
Yes.
Tailgating.
And I know about tailgating.
This guy knows. You want a good burger?
Mm-hmm.
Omaha Steaks.
I've even gone so far as to buy little charcoal grills that you can take with you that are about the yay big, and take my Omaha Steaks and put them on a grill right there and eat them before a game, and sometimes even after.
For more than a century, Omaha Steaks has delivered the world's best steak experience. We all know it's not just about the steaks. And if you want the ultimate tailgating experience, you're ordering the steaks. Shrimp cocktail, sign me up. And the burgers are next level, as you would expect.
You can even do the chicken on a grill. The
That's
chicken
right.
breast, the chicken right on the grill. Boom.
Make game day delicious with the official sponsor of tailgating. Visit omahasteaks.com and get $35 off with promo code FOUL at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com and promo code FOUL at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. A few things transaction-wise. Number one, the Orioles signed up Leody Taveras. He was once more highly regarded. 1 year, $2 million, I think is the number.
It's been a while.
He hasn't shown a lot. Wait, let me get 2 more in there that popped up in the last hour. Ramon Laureano had an option for like less than $7 million. That got picked up. He had a great year. That's with the Padres. I'm just tying these teams together because they made that trade. And then we also learned Ruben Niebla is going to stay on as the pitching coach for the Padres. That's from Alden Gonzalez. So a lot of little things coming through.
So, yeah. So Craig Stammen's saying, hey, just go run the pitching staff. I'll take care of the other side.
He should have some ideas. Although his ideas have already been expressed. He's been with the team for years.
Yeah, so he does a great job.
Yeah, this is good for continuity if that's what you're into.
But the other side is more of a – I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I hope it works out for the Padres. Because they have a good thing going. I don't want it to go away.
Yeah, I don't think they want to shake things up too much. I think they like what they've got right now.
Okay.
Bring someone else in, there's risk factor. External hire.
I hope they spend some money and bring back some of their players.
I don't know if they'll bring back the same guys, but they'll do something. Hey, they made one of the best signings of last offseason. Nick Pivetta is signed up to a nice contract. He was a number 2 starter this year.
Yeah.
Pitched like a 2, like a really good 2.
Look at those leaves.
The Cubs' turn, off-season to-do list. Patrick Mooney joining us right now, and you can read all of his articles about the Cubs in The Athletic and listen to Patrick along with Sahadev Sharma on Northside Territory. Patrick, great to see you again, and let's do what we do. Off-season to-do list for the Cubs. Lay out your 3, and then we'll ask you follow-ups.
Sounds good. Obviously, besides getting AJ to sing the 7th inning stretch at Wrigley Field next year,
yes,
the top priority.
Yes,
he would do it.
That should be number 1.
Yeah. Letting Shota Minaga test the market is clearly a sign that they want to do things differently. Their pitching staff got a little exposed by the second round of the playoffs. It was not good enough to keep advancing. The other part of that is the rest of the pitching staff. The bullpen has to be almost completely rebuilt. That is what the Cubs like to do, though. They don't like making huge investments in the back end of the game. They like taking chances. They feel really good about their ability to identify talent. They have an excellent manager and Craig Counsell in terms of putting those guys in positions to succeed. And obviously they have Gold Glove defenders all over the field to help those guys out. And then the final thing, finding ways to replace Kyle Tucker. Our assumption is that he is likely going somewhere else. The Cubs are going to monitor this. They're going to stay in touch. But if Kyle Tucker gets what we thought was possible at the beginning of the season, a decade-long commitment, a contract that begins with whatever, a 3 or a 4, that's just not really how the Cubs operate. So I would look for them to kind of internally replace him and then find different ways to kind of cobble together that type of production.
All right, Patrick, we're going to start at the top. Upgrade the rotation. They had Shota. They should get Steele back, right? Tyon is there. Yeah. Cade Horton was a really nice rookie season, especially after the first game of his career. I called him, and Craig Counsell didn't want him to face the top of the Mets order at the start, which I never figured out. And then they came up, and the bases were loaded, and he had to get out of it. So, but, I mean, and then Tyon's a nice piece. They have pieces. What I don't understand is why let Shota test the free agent market. He's been good for him. He likes Chicago. The fans love him there. And then and before we get into the bullpen, because I'm going to hit on this now, will they spend the money that they need to really upgrade that rotation?
We'll start with Shota, and that they did not want to make a 3-year commitment right now. I believe that also would have given Shota a no trade clause. He was just sort of a little lost at the end of this year. I mean, them not using him in an elimination game in Milwaukee kind of told you everything you needed to know about what they thought of him in that moment. I still think, the qualifying offer is a possibility. I also think Shota's overall body of work is outstanding. And this is something that if you mention to Cubs officials, they'll probably cringe or roll their eyes. I still think Shota brought something in terms of charisma, in terms of entertainment value, just the way he competed, the joy he showed on the mound. That there are intangible things that he can bring, but ultimately, it's whatever the model told the Cubs, right? They see a guy in his early 30s, creeping toward his mid 30s. They love keeping their options open, and there's a good class of free agent pitchers out there, and I think they'd rather just sort of maintain flexibility rather than committing to Shota right this second.
And I would think that Shota isn't pleased when an option is not picked up. It's not going to help your cause because the team is telling him, we don't think you're worth this. Perhaps you're worth less than this. That's usually a tough sell. So I want to ask you this because we had a good debate the other day, AJ, Kratz, me, about his 2025 season and what you would do. You watched every pitch, right? We watch a lot, but we don't get every single pitch of Shota Imanaga. What did you see this year versus 2024? Did the league adjust? Did the stuff get worse? We see the peripherals like the home runs up and strikeouts down a lot. So did the Cubs make the right call in your mind to not give him that type of contract? And you have to assume at that point that he is gone.
Yeah, I think part of this was the concerns that the baseball industry had when he was leaving Japan started to pop up. And that's what you're alluding to, Scott, of the home runs, of if he loses a little bit of oomph on that fastball, if he gets a little predictable. I think from Shota's side, they can say that he had a lower half injury that may have disrupted his rhythm, didn't quite get all the way back there. And this was just really his first time dealing with this at the major league level, that he had been so good at staying ahead of hitters, that he kept winning that cat and mouse game. And it just caught up to him at the absolute worst time. Like if he had that bad month in April, maybe the Cubs would have picked that up, that 3-year commitment, because I do think we go through this all the time of teams say, man, you can never have enough pitching. And then they get to the trade deadline and it's like, wow, those prices are way too expensive to go get a controllable starting pitcher. That just didn't make sense. And then in October, your pitching gets exposed. But then there's a whole new crop of free agents. And then, the front offices, their imaginations start working. And then usually by like day 3 of the GM meeting, some crazy pitching deal kind of goes across our Twitter screen. So I'm really interested to see like where this market goes, not just for Shota, but for the Cubs. Maybe it is a pitcher who's coming over from Japan. I mean, they've invested heavily in that market to establish relationships. They have good contacts there. I think Shota kind of falls into that bucket of talented but kind of flawed pitchers. I mean, there's there's like a dozen guys like that who have been excellent at times, but who are coming off of down moments, and then we'll see, whether they can guess right this time.
Is it time to move like they moved with Tucker, but in the rotation? Do you see the Cubs saying, you know what, Tarek Skubal wouldn't cost us that much to move from Detroit to Chicago? Do you see them making a big splash to upgrade their rotation?
They're definitely going to check back on the pitching market. I don't see Jed Hoyer and Scott Harris are longtime friends. They work together very closely. They see the game in similar terms. I have a hard time seeing them lining up for a deal. But last summer, the Cubs were asked about Mackenzie Gore, Joe Ryan, the Marlins pitchers. I think they're almost certainly going to circle back in those directions. Some of those teams have undergone changes, whether it was the Nationals having a new leader of baseball operations, the Twins no longer being up for sale. I think kind of what worked against Shota here was the Cubs have a decent amount of pitching depth now. We went through some of those names at the top of this segment, but I think to Erik's point of this is a chance to go for upside, whatever that is, however you think you can get it. Now is the time to at least see rather than locking in 3 years of Shota.
Okay, well then let's go to your next point, the bullpen. They already came out and said they're not going to spend money on any of the top bullpen arms, so they're just hoping and Palencia and some of these other guys can just come through for them, and then at the midway point they'll make trades and see what happens. Are they bargain shopping again? And by the way, this is still the Cubs. They still make a ton of money, and they do not spend like a big market team. So please, if you are listening, Ricketts family, spend your money on players, please. This is coming from a White Sox fan.
I would say the Cubs are completely open-minded in terms of hunting for good deals. So they are not going to give a reliever like a 4-year deal around Thanksgiving. That's just not how they operate. They do not think that is a good way to spend their resources, which are ample, but maybe not commensurate with the Wrigleyville machine that you see, AJ, every time you come in for a national TV game. So, look, I think Devin Williams could make sense. There's a good connection there with Craig Counsell. I think having an established closer, that if he's looking for a bounce back type deal, a nice platform to go try and save 50 games for a playoff contender, sure. But giving a reliever like a 6-year, $100 million deal, that's just not how they operate. And this is an area where I do think they get a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. Like Drew Pomerantz was sitting on his couch last year thinking he was done in the game, and he wound up being a huge part of their bullpen. Caleb Thielbar was not a name that really animated people last offseason. He became extremely valuable. Brad Keller, a minor league deal. He's probably going to get paid pretty well this year. I don't think the Cubs would rule bringing any of those guys out, but they're just going to have a limit. They're going to have a strategy and a philosophy that they're not going to waver from very much.
Mm-hmm. Just mediocre moves that turn out to be really neat, Patrick, right? Right? I mean,
yeah.
So they're not going to rebuild the bullpen. They're just going to
throw a lot of stuff against the wall and see what sticks.
And this is why ownership said, you know what? We will spend on Craig. And I'm sure that was probably one of the big selling points. Look at what Craig's done with the DFA bullpen up north. Well, you know what else that DFA bullpen had? They had 4 starters that went into the 7th inning. They had a closer that was closer of the year, reliever of the year, 4 straight years between Hader and Devin Williams. Like, they basically had to find, Craig Counsell up there had to find 2 innings. He had to find 2 innings, and he's like, oh, he's a masterpiece. Anyway, so if we're not going to spend money, we're going to go to AJ's favorite movie, and we're going to go, in the aggregate, how are we going to replace Kyle Tucker? Because you don't replace Kyle Tucker. The only way you get Kyle Tucker is because you gave up Isaac Paredes, you gave up Cam Smith, and you got a aircraft carrier for your team. Most teams that do this, besides the Orioles and the Cubs now, you make a big move like that because you're like, yeah, I'm going to keep that guy. Obviously, the Cubs were never going to keep Kyle Tucker. He had a great year. Some fans will say, oh, he tailed off at the end. He's not worth it. I would say phooey on that. How do they replace him? Where do they start?
You would start with Seiya Suzuki playing right field, which isn't a bad place to start. You would have, as sort of a floor or as a worst case scenario, you'd have 2 young hitters in Moises Ballesteros and Owen Casey, 2 left-handed hitters that would give you some flexibility. And then, if we're going to keep ruling out ways that the Cubs are going to spend money, they're going to have to spend it somewhere. And so maybe that is an interesting position player elsewhere, whether it's circling back to Bregman, whether it's a hitter out of Japan. I think this is how they look at it. It's the Craig Counsell, I'm using the air quotes here, solving for wins. They have no sort of core philosophy in terms of we have to get that player, or we are one piece away. That is just not how they look at it. And we'll see if they can replace first half Kyle Tucker. Second half Kyle Tucker was, it was eerie to hear the silence in terms of beginning of the year. It was thing you heard. And that really kind of went away. And I don't think there's that sort of pressure on ownership or pressure on front office to sign this guy right now to a 10-year deal. And what the Cubs will do is what they've done the last several off seasons is they'll stay in touch with everyone. They'll see where the market goes. They'll react. And then you get to spring training, and there's probably going to be several good players still out there, and the Cubs will be one of the few teams left in that mix. That's why we saw it with Bregman. We saw it with them bringing back Cody Bellinger. We saw it several years ago with Yu Darvish. Like it or not, that's just how they run their business.
So they're looking for bargains, basically what you're saying is.
Yeah,
the Cubs. Yeah. I mean, you just say that, and I understand that. I mean, listen, again, I get it. I mean, that's the way some teams do it. But
I'm not defending it. I'm just explaining what they're thinking.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
I know. No, I'm not saying you're defending it at all, Patrick. What I'm saying though is, why trade for Tucker if you're not going to even, try? It's like the old Red Sox that we always used to make fun of the last couple of years. Oh, well, we were in on this guy. Oh, well, we were in. We tried, fans, right? Oh, we tried, but you know what? At the end of the day, we just don't have enough money. But come get your $20 beer in the bleachers, and we'll keep doing that, and we'll keep having, so-and-so sing the 7th inning stretch, Chris Chelios and Eddie Vedder every day, right? But here's the thing for me. The Cubs have the core I feel like to make a deep
Yeah.
run in the postseason, right? They shouldn't be losing in the. I know they won the wild card round, so I'll give them that. They shouldn't be losing in the DS. Maybe they should be going for it because I know 2016 is 10 years ago now, but they proved when they go out and spend the money correctly, and they get a Lackey, and they get a Lester, and they get a Hayward, and they get some Dexter Fowler, and they get some of these guys, it can put you on the next level. And they did that with Swanson, right? But that's sorry, excuse me. It makes my stomach hurt when I talk about this. Okay, but when they do these things, it's been proven that it works. So why are they so resistant to going out and making these moves? That's what as a baseball fan, I look at this, and as you mentioned, when I go to these games, it's packed, right? Every bar and restaurant around Wrigleyville is packed. Every rooftop they own is packed. The hotel they own is packed. The McDonald's is packed. Everything is packed. And then they're like, oh, we can't spend. And I'm like, wait, why not? That's why I think this bothers me so much.
For a White Sox guy, I think you absolutely tapped into the frustration of the vast majority of Cubs fans. And you're right. The lesson in 2016 was not just elite young talent. It was going out and spending for proven veterans and championship caliber players to put you over the top. And if you listen to the Cubs over the years, it seems like a lot of sort of pointing at, Jason Hayward's contract, or, we're still paying John Lester part of his signing bonus. That seems to be, they're just so afraid of being kind of hampered by long-term contracts in the future. I will say though, they're in a better place to make that argument now of building off a 90-ish win team that does not have a ton of huge holes versus them making that argument when they were losing 90 games a year.
Maybe they will surprise us. Otherwise, you know where to go, Northside Territory. If you want to vent, we'll do good mailbag segments.
Anytime you need me as a guest
I would love that.
Just, I'm always
Definitely,
available.
yeah.
White Sox versus the
For Cubs fans, for
Where
their
are these
grieving,
teams at?
and if they need a counselor, I'm here for you, Cub fans.
Cubs blue.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, Patrick. Great to have you back on. Appreciate the time as always, and great work on Northside.
You got it, guys. Take care.
You too. Northside Territory with Patrick and Sahadev Sharma. It is part of the FT Network. Half of the 30 teams are covered on the FT Network these days, and you can also read Sahadev and Patrick in The Athletic. Be right back. Hey, congrats to Kenta Maeda. He is returning to Japan, so I think he's retiring from MLB. I don't think he's going to come back at this point. He had a nice run.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he wasn't as good the last, couple years, I guess, at this point. But he was really good for a bit.
He was. He had a good career.
Yeah.
Made some money, too.
Made some money. Yep.
Dodgers, Twins, Tigers. Where else was he? It's only three I can think of off the top of my head.
That might be it.
Mets?
No.
No,
He didn't spend a half the season with the Mets?
No. Just those three. You got it.
Okay.
Just those three.
I mean, listen, he was kind of an interesting guy because he came up as a starter, but then as his career went, he kind of became like a swing man.
At the end of the season, always, they would try to
put him in the bullpen and make him because he had that nasty slider.
Mm-hmm.
He's an interesting – he did a nice job, though. He did a nice career in Japan. Now he's going back.
He's also almost 38 years old. So,
what I'm amazed is, a lot of the Japanese guys I played with, Kratz, like Tadahito Oguchi, I thought he was done over here, and then he goes over to Japan and plays 7 more years.
It's incredible.
It really is.
Incredible fitness, those guys. They do it completely different. Japanese players do it completely different than American players do. From high school all the way on up. Super dedicated, very intricate workouts, flexibility, mobility. Ichiro would always talk about it. Raul Ibanez would talk about all the stuff Ichiro would do. I know Ichiro's a freak. He's Hall of Famer, but They really, you go into a gym in Japan, looks completely different than the gyms over here.
Mm-hmm. A couple Cubs questions. One was, why did they get Tucker in the first place? Well, rentals are real. Other teams do rentals. The Yankees rented Soto, and
but the difference in Soto is that the Yankees actually tried to re-sign. They wanted to re-sign Soto. I mean, the Cubs have pretty much come out and said, "Yeah, we don't really care. He was here for 1 year, and we're going to move on because we can't afford him." The Yankees legitimately wanted Soto back. They threw everything at him, and the Mets just beat him. So
Orioles.
I mean, Corbin. Yeah, but to me, the Corbin Burns trade.
They made an offer. They made him an offer. They made him a huge offer. He didn't accept it.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
So the Cubs.
That's different.
The Cubs will say we tried. We tried.
Exactly. And also, there was another question about Dansby. Someone was asking.
Dansby's got like 4 more years left.
Yeah.
Don't worry about Dansby.
They were like, can you go into detail how they only have him under contract after 26? And I was like, is there an opt-out? No, there's not. He's there for a long time.
They finally a good front end graphic. Finally.
You like that?
Yeah, but the only problem is Michael didn't have his socks on in that.
Shake it up. Well, you need to tell everybody what you just saw because there are many people that listen via podcast.
There's me being a bartender
and
serving drinks to Michael, our social media
our underage intern.
He's not underage.
He's not underage,
and he's not an intern either.
And he's famous now.
Whatever he is.
Let's get to
He sleeps in his socks. He'll always be my intern.
Until he doesn't sleep in his socks. Jayce Tingler is going to join Tony Vitello's staff in San Francisco. They were college teammates at Missouri, and they have remained close friends.
Okay.
He's got experience, Jayce.
Yeah, he's got experience. He's
managed. He's coached for a while. He's managed. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good start.
Yeah.
Staff. Especially if they're close friends. He's got someone there that supports him.
And I don't want to bury the lead, but 90% sure he's coming on the show tomorrow, Tingler, to talk about it. So, but he's in the middle of Zoom meetings, so I'm just being completely honest. If he gets a Zoom meeting, he won't be able to make it. But tomorrow, FT fans, so you'll get more Tingler.
That would be awesome. I would love that.
The person I played with that had the least power ever. Me and Jayce played in high A together. Minus power. You know when you see like the little kids hit and the ball hits their bat and the bat like bounces back? That was Tingler, but in pro ball.
Was he a contact hitter?
Super contact. They would draw the left fielder in because he made the All-Star team in high A because he was just serving balls over the shortstop's head, and then they started bringing the left fielder in. Super contact hitter.
What if we combined you and Jayce Tingler as a player?
I mean, the amount of Sexiest Men of the Year award that you would win, it'd be ridiculous. But I do like it because now you have somebody that has been a manager in the big leagues, knows Tony as well as you can know Tony, and Jayce has done everything. Jayce has gone from, he ran the Dominican Academy. He then brought like Rugi, I'm trying to think, all those guys, Jerickson Profar, those guys that came up with the Rangers, brought them back up to the States, and then he managed them at each level. Then he was like a quality control coach. Then he was a big league manager. Then he's been a bench coach for a while. So he's seen a lot. So I think it's a great hire.
Speaking of hires, Bruce Bochy back to the Giants as a special assistant.
So the Giants are just why did they hire Bruce Bochy as the bench coach?
I don't think he
wants to. I don't want to do that. I'm always a manager. I'd rather be in the office with Buster.
That would be a demotion. Susan Slesser, who is the special contributor to Splash Hit Territory, brand new show, and FP Santangelo hosting. Susan tweeted, I joined FP again on Splash Hit. We talked about my chat with Greg Johnson in the San Francisco Chronicle, including Bruce Bochy's return and other topics. But Greg Johnson is the controller, right? Is he the main guy controlling the team these days or whatever? No?
I have no idea.
I don't know. But he's a decision maker. So
This is great, though. This is another person that Tony Vitello and Jayce Tingler and the rest of this crew, Buster Posey included, can bounce ideas off of. I love this. But listen, just because you're in a position of power doesn't mean that you can't have people that, you can have conversations with, and they might disagree with you, but at least you get ideas and you can bounce ideas off people. And as long as you're okay with not always agreeing with you, like Bochy probably won't agree with everything Buster Posey says, but at least you have a sounding board, and Bochy and Tingler and Vitello can bounce things off of each other and see where it goes, because this is how you learn and get better. You got to be able to talk and not get mad and then move on. And I think the Giants are trying to assemble a staff from front office down that can have open dialogue, and that's a good thing.
I sat in the catchers and pitchers meetings pre-series when I played for the Giants. Bochy was in there. Buster was in there. Like, the guys, like, those are two guys, Buster and Bochy, that just watch a lot of baseball. They remember a lot of baseball. So are they going to be the guy who's just taking over meetings if they're sitting in there watching? No, but they add different things that will help. And I think Tony seems like somebody that's open to other people's opinions and isn't afraid to listen to somebody that has more experience in an area.
Bruce Bochy is the legend. You
True.
want him around as much as possible. And he's not going to get in the way either. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some guys that are there, and it's like, you got to be careful with
That's what I'm saying.
What they're doing and saying. Bochy is the opposite of that. It's just like good times, good hangs, great advice, the whole deal. It's like they're bringing the band back together, right?
That's kind of my point.
Let's bring the winners back. That was beautifully done, by the way, with the
the glare was getting in my eyes.
Subscriber little thing. You got the glare right out. Beautiful. Okay, just want to remind everyone, Splash Hit territory and Bucko territory and Riverfront territory. 3 new shows. There they are. Going to keep reminding you this week to tell your friends. Subscribe.
Say Splash
YouTube
Hit
pod.
3 times guest.
Splash Hit, Splash Hit, Splash Hit.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't go the direction you wanted.
Those are good logos.
They are, right? Logos. You guys should see how much work is done. Yeah, the whole team, production, social, we were all in this Slack channel. We just go back and forth like, oh, let's try the skull on the O and let's switch the bow. It's cool. We have a free agent coach, John Heyman, reporting that Don Mattingly is stepping away from the Blue Jays on great terms and leaving them in excellent position. But this is not a retirement announcement. He is open to new opportunities. I want him to get a...
This is interesting to me.
Why?
Because everyone got along so well there. And Mattingly, I mean, does he want to be he's not going to be a manager.
I have an idea. I think he maybe moved back to the U.S. or wants to move back to the U.S. I mean, he's got a young kid, I think, still.
Yeah, but
no, you don't think that's what it is?
I think this one's interesting to me because everyone's, all you hear from every guy is like, man, we got along so great, and wow, we loved each other and we wanted to be with each other and this and that, and then all of a sudden Mattingly's like, I'm stepping away now. Maybe he hasn't, he'd be a great hire as a bench coach for Greg Stammen in San Diego. I don't know. I mean,
true.
Just someone that's been around it, he's managed, he's done it all. So I don't know. It's just interesting.
He wants a title too. He got so close just now.
Yeah.
Great.
That's all you got? Did you come across
That's all I got? No. Donnie Baseball and I never did, but Schneids was like a kid in a candy store. He was like a kid when you like, hey, you have $500 to spend at Toys R Us. And he was like, wow, this is amazing. I get Don Mattingly as my bench coach? He's like, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to do with my hands. Like, he's a legend. And I think he's somebody that did great managing. He did well. Obviously, got a lot of players that played for him, enjoy playing for him. But what now? I mean, do you run it back with the same team? Maybe he didn't like being up in Canada, away from family. Who knows? I mean, the dude's had 39 years in baseball, 40 years in baseball. That is so many years.
He'll find a job. He'll get something. He's pretty well liked. Yeah, Schneider was funny because you got to see more personality from him this year as they were very successful. And he's loving being with Donnie Baseball. He loves that he gets to pull Scherzer, right? I was waiting for that moment. I enjoy that kind of openness from a manager. I'm dialed in, but I'm also having a lot of fun. And I know how appreciative I should be in this position. I liked that. Relatable.
Guys.
Let's welcome in PT Tierney, aka Rational Yankees Fan. You can follow him on Twitter at
There's
Rational
no such thing.
_Yankee. There is. And
no
this
such
is
thing.
The guy.
There's
PT.
no such thing.
Let me read the bio.
I'm only rational compared to other Yankees fans. Always have to give that caveat.
Okay, that's relative.
Yeah.
I like that.
I am hearing a little bit of fuzziness on the mic, so I'll get your reply here. Otherwise, we'll have to check it here. So let me read the bio. Yankees baseball thoughts minus the hysteria and stupidity. Jack Curry follows me. You probably should too. And he is a member of the MLB Fan Council, which a lot of people didn't know about. So we're going to get into that as well. So PT, first off, great to have you on. And I want to just make sure your mic sounds good. Otherwise, we'll reset you. How you doing?
I'm good. You guys hear me better now?
No, we are crackling.
It is
so
crack-a-lacking.
we might have to do a little thing and get you back on here because I want to make sure everyone hears.
Yeah, I want to hear about this.
Clear. Yeah. So leave. So here, and you're good on tech. I've followed you. So jump out and then reset your link and come on back in, and we'll see if that sounds better.
All right, do it right now.
Okay. All right. So we'll talk to PT in just a moment about his MLB Fan Council experience, about the Yanks, the whole deal coming up. So stay tuned on that.
I love that Rational Yankees Fan. There is no such thing as
he's the guy.
rational.
That's
There's
why
no,
he stands out.
name.
Rational in comparison to the completely irrational Yankee fan.
Yes.
So I mean,
There's
that makes him like, they have the hot crazy matrix thing that everyone goes to on YouTube with the women, where like the hotter they are, the crazier they are. It's like Yankee fans. Like it's the same thing. Rational versus rational. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So let's get back into this. All right. So PT, great to have you on the show. And I'll just reiterate for everyone, you can follow him at Rational _Yankee, not irrational, Rational _Yankee. We'll get into the Yanks in the second portion here. Let's start with your involvement in the MLB Fan Council. These guys didn't know about it. It's a way for MLB to connect with fans. So what can you tell us about your experience so far and how you went a little viral with a tweet talking about how you were on a recent call with them? And I'll cherry pick here. He said, I'm now almost 100% convinced there will be a work stoppage after next season. A lot of the content presented to us was in support of a league-wide salary cap. It definitely felt like the league was making its appeal to fans as to why a salary cap makes sense. Clearly, the league has a firm stance on the issue, and if the players dig their heels in against a cap, I think the 27th season will not happen. Prior to this call, I knew this was a possibility, but was subtly hoping that cooler heads might prevail prior to missing a season. I'm now a lot less confident in that. So instead of cherry picking, I decided to just read the whole thing. And now you go for it. Tell us what that meeting was like and why we should be concerned about this.
Yeah, my stance was, if we're a year out from these negotiations really kicking off, and I'm just a random guy with a Twitter account on a call with a bunch of other random people with Twitter accounts, and we're spending 20 to 30 minutes plus, but honestly it was more than that, talking about salary caps and that as a solution to competitive balance in baseball. It was just kind of I don't want to say alarming, but it was just surprising to me that the league was that upfront with us about why a salary cap could make sense. Because I feel like I'm the last person that you're going to articulate that to, right? I'm just literally some guy who fires out tweets into the ether, a couple times a day. So I don't want to say concerned, but kind of going in, I was like every other fan, right? Everyone knew there might be a work stoppage, there might not be, but I don't think I knew how serious MLB might be about instituting a salary cap in the next CBA negotiations, and that kind of alarmed me a little bit that it felt like they meant business about it.
Okay, first of all, how do you get on this fan committee? Because I want to be on this fan committee. How do I get Rob Manfred to call me and let me listen in on these phone calls? And then did you guys get to ask questions back, or was just who was on this call? Because now you have me completely interested, and I want in, right? So I got to figure out make an account, call myself Irrational Yankee Fan, and then I'll get all your followers.
They have cap for you. Commissioner's Assistance Program for the players.
True.
There's a lot of Irrational Yankees fans. I don't think you get too much traction there. But I literally just one day got a DM from the MLB main account asking me to be on the MLB Fan Council, and that's really what it was. And then when it started, I had no idea what I was getting into. I mean, it's really just kind of a once a month Zoom call, and I will give MLB credit. They're not trying to hide anything. They are, telling us, hey, anything you take off these calls, you can go out onto your platforms and talk about. They gave us some say into what we wanted to talk about, so they weren't really trying to control the narrative from that perspective. How I got selected, I really have no idea. I mean, I was either someone at MLB or maybe someone with the Yankees knew my account, gave it to them, no idea. But it's interesting for me because I don't work in baseball. I don't really play baseball. I'm just a guy with a Twitter account. So to get kind of that inside access there was pretty interesting.
All right. Did they give you any other options? Like, did they give you how they're going to fix what they're calling the inequality in baseball, or was it all just the salary cap?
They were upfront saying we're not here to present solutions. Right, we're just here to kind of talk about the problem, and it was almost weird because they were saying a salary cap might help, but we also don't want to talk about solutions, which the salary cap would have been the solution. But I think they really just kind of focused on over the last the argument is there's baseball, there's a ton of parity in baseball, but when you go down the list of who's actually won the World Series, no one outside of the top 15 has done it in terms of payroll. So how do you fix that? A salary cap might be the way to do it. That we did not get deep into what if you fix the luxury tax system, what's going on with maybe some of the owners that aren't spending money. They didn't say anything about the Pirates maybe pocketing all the revenue sharing. So it definitely felt a little bit more one-sided toward a cap than anything else. And and I did ask the question, and I think it's an important question for the league to answer. Is it necessarily a bad thing for there to be a system in place where your star players get to play consistently in the biggest markets with the most fans, with the most exposure, and they're consistently going to the playoffs in the World Series? I thought that last World Series, as painful as it was to watch the team that beat the Yankees last year play the team that beat the Yankees this year, I mean, any baseball fan would put that World Series up there with one of the best World Series of all time. And with a salary cap and system in place, does that World Series happen? And you compare it to leagues like the NBA, where we have Oklahoma City play Indiana in the NBA Finals, and no one watched it, right? So I think it's easy to say, hey, the markets in Tampa, Cincinnati, whatever other small markets are out there, are having a hard time competing. But number one, does a salary cap necessarily fix that? I think we're jumping to conclusions if we say yes. And then number two, what does that do to your core markets and the fan engagement in them?
PT, we'll do this again. Just click right back in. For some reason, you were good for a while, and then it did a little hiccup. So just give us a little reset. Thank you. We'll have him back in 5 seconds.
I have so many questions on this.
All right, so let her rip. I want you to ask him about this because he gets inside info that a lot of people aren't getting.
That's what's amazing to me.
But it's not secret. It's not like they're signing an NDA.
This is a PR battle that the league is trying to win by having these influencers on their call and then saying, go spread this news to the world. And I get why they're doing it. But what I want to know is, was anything else discussed? Did you get to ask questions? Did they give you any answers? Did they listen to any of your ideas? Or is this just, I know you said you got to ask questions, but did they listen to your ideas and say, oh man, they might have an idea to help fans? Or is it just like, oh yeah, we heard you, we're just going to spew you more information out?
Oh, you guys got me better now?
Yeah, you're good now.
All right, good. Yeah, they let us ask questions. I would say that the fans on the call were overwhelmingly in support of a cap. I think that's important to point out. But also at the same time, the Yankees have the biggest fan base in baseball, and I'm the only Yankees fan out of probably 70 or 80 other people on this call. So I won't say that the fan base was, or the people on the call were necessarily representative of MLB's fan base as a whole. But yeah, a lot of the fans from small market teams were in favor of a cap. So there really wasn't a ton of pushback from a lot of the other people. But yeah, I did ask the question, why is it a bad thing that the best players play in the big markets? And the answer I got back was, what do you, it depends on what we want baseball to be. Do we want it to be a league where, only 10 or 15 teams have a chance every year, or do we want to give everyone a shot? And I don't buy into that premise that that's what it is right now, but that's the answer I got.
Would you want to hear from the players? Because obviously the Major League Baseball is putting this together, putting this group together. Wouldn't it be beneficial to hear the players' side? If the Players Association, the union, put something together, you'd be open to listen to that part too, yeah?
I want to hear that, right? Because again, I want to be educated on these issues. I didn't start putting out content or giving my thoughts about baseball thinking anyone's going to follow me. But as I'm learning right now, I'm on foul territory. So every once in a while, I say something and people actually read it and listen to it and want to talk about it. And when I do, I want to be knowledgeable about all sides of the issue. I've gotten the ownership side. I get it. I hear where they're coming from. I'm not going to say I agree with it. But to hear from the other side of it, you want to get a balanced view. So when I talk to, my followers, I have, something to say.
Okay. My question is then all other leagues have caps, right? The Chiefs go to the Super Bowl every year, the Chiefs and the Eagles, and forever the Patriots were going to the Super Bowl every year. And then the NBA, they have to build these super teams, right? And yes, Oklahoma City won last year, but nobody watched because it was Oklahoma City. But when the Lakers are in it and the Celtics are in it every year, people tune in to watch. So how does it – it still goes back to my original question. A floor would obviously help the cap because there already is a soft cap. I know I'm not going to get too deep in the weeds. It's just amazing to me that they go to fans, and I'm assuming – now, I don't know this, but from what you said, these are people that have probably tweeted things that they were already aligned with, so they were just trying to get them to say, oh, yeah, what you're saying, we already believe in this. Let's go spread this. I don't know. I would love to be a part of this. I don't even really have a question. I just love to be a part of this just so I could hear what they say because I've been on MLB calls before. I was there in 2002 when they were trying to contract the Expos and the Twins. Oh, we were never trying to do that. I had a call a week, right? And now the new thing is salary cap, salary cap, salary cap. And they're spreading it to the fans. And then they get you guys who influence people to say, oh, this cap is a great idea. And then more fans. I don't know. I would love to be a part of this somehow and listen to it.
Yeah, I do want to say that this was one call at the end of a series of 10 or 11 calls, and this was the only one where I felt like MLB was really pushing its agenda a little bit on us. I don't want to make it like the whole program was that. This was kind of unique to it. But yeah, I think that it was definitely alarming that on the last call, that was the narrative that was being placed. And like you said, AJ, you can go across any league. Like I'm a big New York Giants fan on the football side, and there were stories coming out over the last couple of days that MetLife Stadium was filled with Niners fans this weekend, more so than it was Giants fans, right? Because in a league with a salary cap, they were a poorly run organization. They're up against the cap. They can't improve their team. And now you have one of your premier franchises in one of the largest markets. Their fans aren't showing up to the games. I'm sure they're watching the games, but maybe not to the degree that they would have been. You got Niners fans in MetLife Stadium making more noise than Giants fans. And if you create a system where there is a cap and you have teams like the Yankees and the Dodgers or whatever, big market organization you're talking about going through potentially prolonged periods of a downturn, is it good for baseball to potentially disengage some of your largest fan bases in an effort to, pick it back up in Kansas City, Cincinnati, Seattle, or whatever small market it might be? It's a hard question because if I were a fan of those teams, the answer would be absolutely yes. I want to have a chance to win as much as anybody else. I don't know if the salary cap fixes that, and I also, for the greater good of the game, I don't know if that's what's best for fan engagement, because I don't think there's anything broken with baseball right now where we need to completely revamp the monetary landscape of it.
All right, just at the end of your sentence, we got give me a quick refresh again.
Oh,
We keep
man.
running here. I caught it at the end, so we got most of the answers.
Yes.
Just give me a refresh. We're good. We're going to keep rolling. Give me a quick refresh, and then I'll bring you back for the next question if we can, PT. It's
Sure.
just the mic getting a little funky at the end there.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah,
You're good.
so I was just saying.
Wait, no. I'm saying you got to refresh your link, bud. Sorry, you're good. We got the answer. Just do another refresh. Okay, and I'll also mention that it doesn't seem like the New York Jets have a chance in the NFL. It's been a really long time since they've been anywhere close to relevancy.
Listen, I live in Orlando. The Magic
area,
haven't competed forever. They've never won a championship.
all these leagues have got. It's so stupid.
I don't know what else I can say. I live in Orlando. There's a salary cap.
Fans don't want salary caps.
Okay, well, let me ask
Owners
PT.
do.
So
Yeah.
what info did you get? Like, so in this particular call, did you learn a lot? Did they give helpful information? And were there any questions like the ones that you said, hey, there's already a soft salary cap. Why doesn't a soft floor exist for these ownership groups of and these are the fan base that are often complaining, as they should. But those groups are not spending money, and then they're acting poor. But if they really were struggling, they would obviously sell the team. It's a broken record, but it is true. Do they give any response to that, or is it just like, are they trying to make it an open forum, or is it more just, hey, here's the solution? There's also revenue sharing, which exists now and can continue to exist. So if a team's like, oh, I'm 50 mil short from spending what I want to spend, revenue sharing can help fix that as well. Did you get any of that, or was it just a one-sided attack?
I don't want to call it an attack. I think that they geared the content toward what the people on the call were trying to kind of get out of it. And again, it was when you start talking about salary cap, you're going to get a lot of the fans from a lot of the smaller market teams coming out and saying that, we've been pounding the table for this for a long time. And, for me, I was maybe one of the only dissenting voices on there. So we didn't really spend a lot of time on the other side of the issue because there wasn't a lot of interest in the other side of the issue. I didn't feel like.
Why are there only one? Why is there 80 people on there and only one Yankee rep? Like, how does that work? Like, other teams had multiple reps, but only one for you guys?
I think some teams have 2 or 3. I don't know if there's a Dodgers rep. If there is, I haven't met that person. I don't think there's another Yankees rep to my knowledge. It could just be that Yankees fans can be a little bit annoying sometimes and they didn't want to deal with it. I'm pretty upfront about that. If that's the case, then I can't say I blame them because I deal with it every day. But yeah, I can't answer that question. I really don't know.
Well, you are rational and you are well-spoken. So let's try to find a positive here from either this meeting or prior meetings, because you are the voice in the rep for these discussions. Was there anything good that you've learned, an idea floated that you actually saw implemented like over the past year? Is there anything that can come out of it that you think was super helpful for them to understand to help grow the game? It's no secret, and I used to work there. It's bosses where you're like corny, and even Ken brought it up, right? Like it's like the concert during the World Series from the Jonas Brothers where you're like, they're trying, but they just don't understand it. So do you feel like anything gets through for them to be cooler in the way that they run the sport?
Yeah, I think it depends on the topic you're talking about, right? There was some of it that was just purely educational. We had someone come in and talk to us about the science behind torpedo bats, and this was earlier in the season when that was one of the stories. And there's some things there that you realize pretty quickly the person who's talking to you about it knows way more than I ever will. So it's kind of just to sit there and listen and learn. But then we had a really cool call where we were given the same presentation around player marketing a week after Fernando Tatis Jr. got it to talk about what the league can be doing to help increase his profile. And I learned a lot from that in terms of what the league is doing to try to help make its players more visible. But then they asked us, what's from your perspective, what are the things that players are kind of missing on the social media front right now? And I felt like they really did take our suggestions. Like one of the things I said was, I follow a lot of Yankees on Twitter. Most of their Twitter accounts feel like just straight PR for the player. It doesn't feel like Aaron Judge is sending out a whole lot of tweets off of his Twitter account, right? It's probably maybe someone doing it for him or whoever runs his social media. And, fans can see that. They can see through that. And it doesn't give you the ability to feel like you can identify with someone, when it feels like that. So I think just little things like that, I think we're definitely taken into account. And I do think they made an effort to listen to us. After every call, they asked us for our feedback.
Okay.
Okay.
I agree with that, by the way, where there are mostly employees working for players and running their accounts, right?
Yeah.
And they're busy and some of them aren't good at it, but some more connectivity would certainly help. And some are better than others, but I do know what you're talking about. There are quite a few players, especially some of the bigger names where, it's kind of like when you would look at The Rock or something, right? Like they're just putting stuff out and they are their own business online, right? Yeah. So everything is either an influencer post, and I get it, that pays the bills, or something that's gearing towards that. So I understand that. And I agree with that, right? Honestly, it's part of why we started this show. We're like, hey, these guys are cool. Let's bring them on. It's easier for them to just talk for 15 minutes to us versus have them go. A lot of these guys feel weird about it. Hey, Yankee fans, it's me talking after the game, right? Like you're great on here. You didn't want to do this. If you were asked to do this, you'd be like, if you were doing this after every game, like, here are my thoughts. Yeah. It's kind of weird, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, let's finish with this. So give me the Rational Yankee Fan take on the season and what people can expect to follow coverage-wise for you.
Well, what coverage-wise for me is whatever pops into my head at the moment. I don't have a full slate there, but I think the Yankees. It's a really interesting offseason. The Yankees, they tied for the best record in the American League. If you were to say that to their fans, they're not going to be happy with it. But the reality is they knocked out Boston for the first time in 20-something years, and they just ran into a really hot Blue Jays team, and that's just something that happens in the playoffs sometimes. For me, the offseason is interesting because they're going to have to figure out the outfield. They have to come away, I think, with one of Bellinger or Tucker. And I think what we talked about earlier, the CBA kind of being up at the end of this year, I don't know if what owner is going to want to write out a $350 to $400, $500 million contract a year before the CBA expires. I definitely think that's going to play into it for the Yankees. But there's a lot of questions they have to answer. They have to answer the outfield. They got to fix the bullpen. They're losing Devin Williams and Luke Weaver there. There are a lot of questions they have to answer and a lot of uncertainty on the horizon. And I'm glad that hopefully there's people smarter than me trying to figure it out, because it's definitely a lot of puzzle pieces have to come together.
Well, we'll be talking about it and we'll be following you. PT, thanks for joining us again at Rational_Yankee for more insights on what we talked about with the Fan Council, and of course, his primary reason for being on there on Twitter to talk about the Yanks. Appreciate you, PT. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. Bye.
FT fam, be right back. We're getting ready for Blake Mitchell, super prospect. We have qualifying offer news, by the way. It's coming in as the show's going. I haven't been able to pay too much attention to it, but people like Bo Bichette getting qualifying offers.
No way.
It's a crazy. Hey, the Blue Jays also picked up John Schneider's contract option for 26, and Ross Atkins, whatever front office leader of the team. He and I are talking about the potential of that being longer. That makes sense.
They just went to the World Series.
I would keep him.
Yeah. We're talking about that. Yeah. Okay. No kidding. What about Atkins and Shapiro, though? Don't they both have their contracts up? So
yeah, Shapiro also spoke. They had their presser, and he kind of said they tabled that once things got hot with the season. But it sounds like there's mutual interest in that continuing. No surprise. Sure. I think that was going to continue regardless of what happened this season for them. I had the quote somewhere, but I'm probably going to lose it now and not have time to find it. But when you've had that successful of a run just now, you try and keep everything the same.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to find it in time, but it makes sense.
Didn't look like that at the beginning of the year. Didn't look like they were going to be extended at the beginning of the year. I thought the moves that they made going into it wasn't it, but man, like AJ says, or maybe it's Ozzy that says it, winning solves everything.
It's probably not the best time to bring this up, but there was one fan that was like really adamant that we were critical of the organization about the Vladdy contract. And I was like, everyone was. Most Blue Jays fans were like, get this shit done. And then they did.
We were critical. We were happy as hell when they signed him.
Yeah.
We were critical they hadn't signed him yet.
That's the whole point. It was taking over the storylines too. And you guys have spoken about this. Every question to every teammate. Hey, what do you think of the Vladdy situation? Yeah. It becomes toxic.
Agreed.
When it doesn't get done.
We weren't critical at all. We were very happy when it was done.
Yeah. Vladdy was public about it too. Because I think he felt a little bit offended at the time until it got to the number that he was at. And they waited a while. So the price went up. This is part of it too, is you take the risk on early, but they probably could have signed him a couple of years ago for like $250 for like half of this.
Yeah.
But now who the hell cares? Because you had a banger season. They made a ton of money. They had a ton of success. And baseball is ruling in Canada right now. So it worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're going to bring a lot of the same group back. Coaching staff. I know we talked about Donnie, but everyone else. We've got Royals super prospect Blake Mitchell joining us right now on the show, and he's out in the Arizona Fall League and was named to the AFL Fall Stars game roster. I used to call those games. It was one of my favorites. The game is Sunday at Sloan Park, 8 o'clock Eastern, and you can watch it on MLB TV. It's streamed live on the app as well. Blake joining us here. Blake, great to have you on. Congrats on making that roster, and how's everything going out there?
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. It's been great. It's a lot of good baseball out here, a lot of great players, great coaches. So, I'm taking it all in, learning from as many people as possible.
What's been your favorite moment out there so far? It could be anything individually, in a game, moment with some new teammates that you're meeting.
I would say just getting to continue to play with the guys that I played with this year, like Daniel Vasquez, Carson Rockefeller, all the Royals guys that I've got to play with. And then also our manager, Jesus Suaje, who's been my manager every single year in pro ball. So for him to continue to be my manager, it's really special.
What are you trying to learn? Because when I went to the fall league, I was awful because I had actually been in the big leagues for the first time, and then they were like, "Oh, go play in Arizona," and I was like, what are you trying to work on? They didn't really say anything. They just go get more at bats, and I was like, okay, well, what are you trying to work on while you're out in Arizona? Did they give you a list of things you need to improve?
I don't really have a list of things to work on. I was hurt for the entire first half of the year, so the main thing for me is just getting as many at-bats as possible, getting to learn, other pitchers, other pitching staffs, just getting the experience, and, the main thing is just getting more at-bats.
All right, then I'll give you something to work on. Face some lefties. Did you tell your manager, who is it, Jesus Suaje, you said? Like, I was looking at your numbers from so far in pro ball. They don't ever let you face lefties. Do you feel like the organization is insulating you from lefties, or do you feel like it's something that just hasn't happened? We just haven't faced a lot of lefties.
Yeah, I guess that's just the luck of the draw. I feel like I haven't faced that many in pro ball. I mean, I played over 100 games last year in low A, and I guess I didn't get to face that many lefties, and then being hurt half the year probably held me back a little bit as well.
But how are you going to learn to hit lefties if you don't face them? I was left-handed hitter. I always said and I hit lefties fine in the minor leagues, and then finally you get to the big leagues and they say, you can't hit them. Well, I hit them fine. I never had a problem in high school, minor leagues. I hit them just fine. Just let me play. So tell your manager, let's go. Let me play. Call up Quatraro, call up Q and be like, Q, listen, I'm going to be your catcher in the future. I know Salvi's got a couple more years, but let me face lefties because I want to play every day.
All right, I'll let him know. I faced a couple the other day, so that's a little.
And how'd you do? How'd you do?
I had 2 knocks.
Oh, see?
Nope. You're bad.
Yep, sorry about it.
Being a minor leaguer, when you look at a guy, when you see that Salvador Perez just got an extension for 2 years. What goes through your mind? Are you like, cool, like now I get to play with Salvi? Or wait, is it because I was hurt all year, this half of the year this year? Like, do you overthink that? And is there somebody in your life that tells you, well, relax, bro?
I haven't really thought about it much at all. It just happened, and I love Salvi. I was with him last spring training, in big league spring training. So he's a great guy to be around, and I know everybody loves him in the clubhouse. All the Royals people love him. So, I'm not complaining at all. I love being around him, so I'm going to try to learn as much as possible from him.
How hard is it coming to a new team? You spend pretty much, your season, you might bounce from 1 or 2 levels, but how hard is it coming to a new team like your fall league team? And you got to go and catch. Obviously, everyone's going to look at your hitting numbers and see how you hit dingers and you hit the ball really hard. How hard is it to catch and learn all of these new pitchers?
It's definitely tough, learning all the signs, what they want to use with runner on second since we don't have pitch comm here. What they like to throw in certain situations, certain counts. So now I'm starting to get the hang of it after 4 straight weeks of catching them. But it's definitely a big adjustment.
What do you mean no pitch comm? Hold up. Before I get to the next question, why don't they have you guys using pitch comm? They use it in the big leagues. They can't get you all pitch comm to get used to for when you move up the ladder? That makes 0 sense to me. They have pitch comm in high school.
Yeah, we don't even have it in the minor leagues. Like, I think only AAA has it. Like, we didn't have it all year.
That's crazy to me. You think that pitch comm,
I
know a guy. Are you not allowed to use it, or you just don't? They don't let you? Because I know a guy that can send you one if you want it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't asked too many questions about it. I'm just like, you tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Okay, so what do you do in the fall league? Is you still get an off day a week? Is that they still do where you get 1 off day a week?
Yeah, it's been every Monday that we've had off.
What do you do out in Arizona? I know you spend time out there, obviously, in Surprise with the Royals, but what do you do during the fall league on your off day? You hanging out? You golfing? You climbing a Camelback Mountain? What do you do out in Arizona?
Most of the time, I'm just relaxing. Getting my body ready for that week. I've been pretty consistent on Mondays, going to this recovery place called Modern Athlete. They just been getting my body right, getting me ready for that upcoming week. So I thank them a lot for everything they've done.
What does that look like? Because recovery in Arizona Fall League when I was there, and I'm sure when AJ was there, was not quite the same on off days as going to Modern Athlete. But what does that look like? What do you do? Go in there, massage, cryotherapy, hot cold tub? What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, they have cold tub in there. This thing called PEMF that just runs like electrodes through your entire body to relax it. They have these things called Solo Dome that relaxes your nervous system, your body. Just a bunch of different stuff that we go through for about a couple hours, and then it's kind of a reset for my body, and then just come back here to Surprise and just lay around, watch some YouTube, just do whatever.
I mean, listen, you're right about one thing. I only recovering from hangovers on my off day in the fall league. There was no Modern Athlete, trust me. But this is forever ago, so this is way before you were even born. Who's your roommates? Do you have roommates out there in Surprise? Or are you living by yourself?
Yeah, I had Hunter Owen, who's a pitcher with the Royals, but then something happened with his shoulder, so he went home. So it's just me by myself now. But I have all the other Royals players that are in the same facility, but I got my own room, so it's nice.
So wait, are you in a dorm or are you in like an apartment?
It's literally an old hotel that the Royals bought and just made it their own, and then all the Royals players stay here. This is where we stay for spring training. If we're here for rehab, we stay here. So it's a nice setup they have for us.
Is it nice? Because
yeah,
this is something new. This is something new. For when I was in the minor leagues, AJ didn't spend much time in the minor leagues, but when I was in the minor leagues, we had to go find our own place. And man, you sit in Arizona and you're like, I don't know, some sketchy places, but this is all we can afford. Do they do a good job, and do they give you options to choose from?
Yeah, it's definitely a nice setup. I know like all the minor league guys stay here. So my first spring training, I was here, but then once you get to big league camp, then they give you that extra money to stay away, stay off. So you get your own Airbnb setup, which is not too bad. It's nice. But here it's called the Fountains. They have, a whole kitchen, a whole living room, two rooms in here. So it'd be 2 beds in a bathroom and then 2 beds in the bathroom in the other one. So it's nice, in spring training, it's kind of packed where it'd be 4 guys to a room. So you'd be sharing a room and a bathroom. But I mean, it's not bad at all. Like, it's a really nice setup.
That's bad. I'm sorry. That's bad. You got to share a bathroom. Like that's my number one. Like, oh man, like I'm too old for that. People are like,
yeah, but he's a kid.
I understand, but still,
every
man,
college kid has to. I mean, most.
I know, but that's still.
Share a bathroom with
I know. I have 2 kids in college. Trust me.
You didn't.
I know all about it. I
Yeah.
got 2 kids in college that are both shared rooms. I don't know how they did it. I would have to leave the room for certain things to happen. Find like a lobby or something.
It is a part of life.
I know. Listen, I lived in the minor leagues. I did the minor leagues. We had a hotel room we stayed in. It was not as nice as the one that I'm looking at behind him.
And you shared it, right?
Yeah, and it was awful, and it sucked. Yeah,
but life. It makes you appreciate.
It does. It does. It definitely makes you. That's one of the good things about baseball. When you get there, it makes you appreciate not having a roommate and not having to share a bathroom. So trust me, when you do get there, Blake, you're going to enjoy it. Who was your favorite player growing up? You can say me.
Bryce
Okay, I was in Texas when you were about 10 years old, so you can say me. I was left-handed hitting catcher. I get it.
Yeah, I remember watching when I grew up, but I think Bryce Harper was probably my favorite.
Okay, that's fair.
Original catcher.
It was a catcher at one time. It didn't last very long, but I can understand that. Bryce and I, we have similar power numbers, so I get it. I totally understand.
Similar personalities.
Yeah, I like Bryce.
Yeah, exactly. Last question for you. In terms of what you've learned so far with Kansas City, I know you have friends in other organizations. What do you think stands out about the Royals organization? I know that they didn't make the playoffs this season, but last year had a nice postseason run. What do you think is part of the identity for KC? And if you can try and avoid a cliche, what's something that you feel like is special that they point out that you've really learned that maybe you didn't pick up until you got there? Something a little more big picture, but not cliche, if it's possible to figure that part out.
I'd say with the Royals, I really like how they strive to make everything homegrown. They're not going to go out and sign somebody for, hundreds of millions of dollars just because they really can't. It's just the reality of it. They have to scout well. They have to, get the right players. So I really like that, and I really like how they, put all their effort into their players because they know that they have to make them the best possible.
I like it. Well,
okay.
Thanks for joining us. Have fun. Are you excited for the Fall Stars game?
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a lot of fun. So get to go play out there with some guys I haven't played with in a few years. So I'm excited to be on the same team as them.
Nice. Yeah, It's a good event. I called a few of those. I had fun with it. We used to.
I was in the Fall League so long ago. I don't even think they had an All-Star game.
No, it wasn't there the whole time. But it's my favorite part because you get all the guys playing well and a lot of top prospects, and we mic up players. That's whole
awesome.
Deal. Yeah. So enjoy it. We'll be watching. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me.
Appreciate you. That's Blake Mitchell. Get to know the name if you don't already. Hey, we're back. Go ahead, Kratz. Tell everybody what you just told us in the chat.
I was looking up video of Blake's swings. Whew, a left-handed catcher with power. He keeps hitting so many homers, they might bounce him out of the catching position and find another spot where they're gonna have him play every day. This dude, for a young guy, and he's not massive. He's built. I think he's like 6 foot, 6'1". He puts some hurting on some baseballs. Hits absolute tanks. I just want to see him hit against lefties. Like, this guy's your number 2 prospect. He has 100 and I don't want to be incorrect, but he has 135 plate appearances in 3 years against left-handed pitchers. Like, you got to get him out there. There's any off day should never be against a lefty because it's the minor leagues. His swing tells me nothing other than that he's going to be able to hit lefties. He stays close. He does all those things. but it's an epidemic in the game. It's like, oh, well, this is the day he gets off. Like, make him play. Make him learn, because now's the easiest time to learn.
Yeah, but he's been hurt. He hasn't gotten a lot of.
Yeah, that's my thing.
His whole thing is he's been hurt.
Figuring that out, but I'm like, yeah, he's been hurt. I also will point this out, and I don't know the whole playing time split. The Royals are one of the top teams in terms of catcher prospects. They traded away Freddie Fermin, and there's like 2 or 3 more that are going to be in the big league soon.
I'll say this, as a catcher that was left-handed hitting, they always want to give you the off day against the lefty. Like if let's say you're on a run of 4 or 5 days in a row, and they're like, oh, we have a chance to give you a day off. And it's, they always try to, it's a night game before a day game, and there's a lefty pitching on the night game. We'll give you that game off so you can get the righty at the day game, or vice versa, where they say, the lefty's pitching the day game, so that way you get 2 days off, really, So it's also a little bit of because of the position he plays and trying to give him some rest because he has been injured. So like, hey, we can give you a day off. We'd rather give it to you against a lefty versus a righty where you can hit a bomb.
But that's in the big leagues. This is the minor leagues.
Minor leagues too. Minor leagues, they did the same thing. If they had an option as a left-handed hitter to give me a day off against a lefty or a righty, they would always give it to me against the lefty, because also back in these days, we were actually trying to win in the minor leagues, which God forbid you're actually trying to win all the time.
Well, some do.
That's a whole – some do. Some really actually do.
Yeah.
Some organizations try to win in the minor leagues. The Rays – it usually revolves around the teams that bring up their guys because they're like, well, they need to know how to win to be in the big leagues on our team.
Let's hit a couple topics here in Hot Corner. This first bit of news was basically known. I believe that in his press conference at the end of the season, Dave Dombrowski mentioned this, and it happened. Jose Alvarado was suspended for PEDs, missed half the year, had a $9 million club option. They decided to bring him back, and Matt Gelb wrote in The Athletic how he would have been one of the best lefty relievers on the market. They've talked about this a lot on the Phillies show. Kratz, you're our Philly guy. Are you good with this? They're looking at it as we know him and we know what a pitcher like him would get in the free agent market. The other side of it is he got popped for PEDs. Is he the same guy when he goes through multiple cycles without it? Your thoughts?
I mean, rarely is a guy that got popped only did it once. But yeah, you know what? Who knows? Who knows if he's going to be the same guy? He was pretty nasty when he wasn't. Like this spring training, I think he had like something ridiculous, like 20 strikeouts in spring training in like 8 innings that he threw. And then he started the season out. He was slinging it. Like he definitely had an uptick, not necessarily in his velocity, but the results of his stuff. So he was good before that. He was good last year. I guess I don't have a problem with it. If his teammates don't have a problem with it, and everything we heard from Topper to different guys we had on, they loved Jose. And so that's the only time when it would be, maybe we don't bring him back. But it's hard to turn down one of the top left-handed relievers for only $9 million for 1 year. I mean, that'd be a bold statement by the Phillies to not pick this option up.
Well, Dave Dombrowski said on our show he was going to pick it up. Mm-hmm. He said it, right?
I didn't remember if we talked about it.
No, he brought it up. He's like, oh, yeah, Alvarado's definitely coming back. I mean, so there was no suspense in this one. I mean, listen, steroid PED guys they're just forgiven and forgotten now. Honestly.
It's not.
Are they? I mean, you guys tell
me. They are, by teams.
Do teammates care?
No.
Not really.
They don't, right? Because they want
That's
to
what
win.
I'm saying.
If he comes back and he pitches well, then, if you're Bryce Harper or Trey Turner or anyone else, you're like, cool,
I mean, Fernando
win.
Tatis, do you think the Padres care that he got in trouble for PEDs? Nope.
Major League Baseball doesn't even care. Yeah. They put him on some of their biggest really logos. Cares.
Well, the one risk is, I mean, if you get popped again, then you're out for the full season and all that.
Okay. How did that affect Alex Rodriguez?
I mean, he's another world.
I'm just saying, how did that affect him? Does anybody care anymore that he did that?
Yes.
Who?
Me.
Okay. But I'm just saying, most fans out there, do they care?
Hall of Fame voters.
Okay.
Do most fans care? I actually think they do.
Do they?
For him, yes, because he did it a billion times. I think for others, it's harder to know exactly how deep it got. His story.
We know how deep it got. He's told us a million times. He did it since he first started because he had all this
for Alex. I'm
pressure.
saying for other guys, they usually don't give
Bartolo
you much
Colon.
information.
People love Bartolo Colon. Everyone just conveniently forgets he was a steroid guy.
Nelson Cruz.
I was there when Nelson Cruz got suspended. It was one of the most devastating days ever.
They're nice guys. They're happy. It doesn't. I'm not trying to pick on people. We're getting farther and farther from it actually mattering for people testing positive for steroids. Because Jurickson Profar, he still gets the rest of his contract. Was that worth it? Yes. People reboot their image. They get to go back out and they play again. So unfortunately, we're getting farther from it mattering to your career. He was a steroid guy, but who cares? We're putting him on our team's Hall of Fame. He's a steroid guy, but who cares? He's funny. He's a nice guy. He's got a great smile. Like, it really doesn't have the effect that I think some players feel like it does, and whether that's jealousy from those players or that's just players being like, I know what I put into it and I didn't cheat, and this guy still gets like notoriety. And I don't know what the answer is. Like, ban him from everything baseball? No, nobody's going to do that.
Do you guys think there should be stricter penalties, and do you think players?
I just don't think it matters anymore. I mean, I think if I'm a person and I just want to make a bunch of money and I can do this and I can get a big contract and I miss half a year. So let's say I sign I'm just going random number, 5-year, $50 million contract. And I have to give up $5 million. So instead I get $5 million, $45 million. Seems like a pretty good deal to me because they can't take that money away.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, listen, it is what it is. We're out of the game. They're trying to clean it up. There's no perfect answer.
Yeah.
Right. But what I'm saying is that when you're talking about this, people forget. They move on. There's the news cycle with social media is so short now. But he was suspended. Oh, who cares? Oh, he's back. Yes, he can help us get to the playoffs. Cool.
Yeah,
that's it. That's where we're at.
I think opposing fans care, but then the fans.
Yeah, but half of them forget after a year, anyways, because then it's on to the next thing. People. I told the story many times when I was in Anaheim, years after the 2005, when all this stuff happened with me in 2005. Fans were booing me, and a good buddy of mine was sitting in the stands. And he looks at him and goes, "Hey, why are you guys booing him?" And they go, "I don't know. I guess he used steroids or something." They have no idea. They have no idea. He's booing, so I'm going to boo. They have no. The Astros trash can thing has lasted longer than guys doing steroids hatred towards
it's not even close.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Which one cheated the game more?
Which one's a bigger advantage?
I would contend almost the steroids.
Gosh, if you're on the right roids, look at some of the careers.
I mean, I'm sorry.
The trajectories.
Okay.
It's an important thing.
I hate getting into this because it gets me sometimes.
But we don't talk about it very often, so I
know,
thought it was worth a few minutes to find out really if you guys think the penalties are strict enough. And you're saying no one cares. Okay, well, it is still half a season. Like, you do miss that player, and also you do miss that player in the postseason. I do like that part, right? You don't get to have that player come back.
But if your Jurickson Profar and your team doesn't make the postseason, who cares?
I agree. And also, if you sign a contract that's long-term, it's not like it messes up the rest. There's some fans that'll be like, oh, that voids the contract.
Can't do that.
That's tricky.
No, because then that's the owners. The owners are like, fine, I'll take a no long-term contract. So there's got to be some culpability there where it's also like you're protecting players too. So I get it. Like, you void contracts. Oh man, that would be great. Owners would be like, yes, sign up for that. We're combating against steroids.
It brings in a whole different thing.
I'll tell you what the thing is.
Because you can listen, if there's a bad contract, and I've heard people talk about this before,
I have too.
like you can, who's to say, oops, I put something in your food by, and
when it comes to that much money,
that's what I'm saying. Like, and I know it's a crazy conspiracy theory, but
it's not.
I've heard many people say like that could be a problem.
It is a significant reason.
Here's a smoothie from the team. Oh, it had something in it. You're getting drug tested after the game. You had no idea. I didn't take anything.
You sign up a guy for $250 million, and you suddenly hate him, that's a way to get rid of him.
Yeah, that's why that'll never happen.
Yeah.
So
that's a slippery slope. But that's why it's a good topic. It's complicated. It's not easy.
No, it's not. It's a really complicated. I just asked the question, like, that people forget. They do. Fans forget. Forget quick.
You're right on the news cycle.
My solution is you can't get any awards after that. You test positive for steroids, you can't make an all-star team, can't win MVPs, you can't win those awards. All your team stuff,
they don't
you're
care.
fine.
They don't care about that. I mean, if you're in a long-term deal, who cares? I mean, if you already get popped, you're not going to the Hall of Fame. So then who cares if you win MVPs and all that stuff? I mean, if I'm on a $200 million contract and I lose, I can't go to an All-Star game. Everyone opts out of those anyways. I can't be the MVP. I'm probably not going to win none of those anyways. So,
but this way you're not taking it from other people. This way you're not taking Jerickson Profar took somebody's job, and I forget what his name was. Both of them were on the team at the beginning of the year in San Diego. Obviously, Jerickson had the year that he had. His exit velocity went up 5 miles per hour at age 30. And that guy ended up going down. He's kind of been bouncing up and down from the big leagues the last 2 seasons. Like that's where I think it comes in. Is it the notoriety? No, it's like I don't want someone else taking somebody else's award that did it clean.
Hold up.
You're talking about completely different things here.
You're talking about a job.
You're talking about a job that's not even. You're talking about
maybe
2 different award or job. Like no.
No. I'm saying that it affects other people. When people do steroids, it affects other people.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, to be continued. I'm sure that this will come up at some point again. But good discussion, and really just wanted to know, like, how else can you make this a more prominent penalty if you feel like it deserves to be that way? Because players did want more of a penalty, and they did up the penalty, right? It was lower at some point, and they pushed it up. Anyway, let's swing back. We'll do a little That's What He Said. Coming up next, a clip from Crush City territory. BetMGM social media account. What do you have for us today? Give one MLB offseason bold prediction. Do you want me to read some examples that were replies to that tweet?
Mm-hmm.
Jordan said Pete Alonso signs with the Atlanta Braves.
Why?
They have a first baseman.
That's a bold play, Cotton.
That is bold. I mean, he can DH. Marcell Ozuna is a free agent.
He won't want to do that, though.
I know he won't. But that rules him out of a lot of places. Like, if Kyle Schwarber leaves for some reason and they want a different DH, Pete could be that guy. But he has to be okay with that.
Slide right in there.
I think he would do it because you'll still fill in. Guys get hurt. You shuffle around. I don't know. One other. I'm not going to read it. Anyone else?
Anyone else?
Do you guys have one?
What was the other one?
I'm sick of it.
I haven't got into the off-season mode yet. I'm still recovering like Kike Hernandez from the World Series.
I have something for you that just happened that a lot of fans were asking about, specifically related to our show. Alden Gonzalez just tweeted the Dodgers have picked up Max Muncy's option for 2026. It's $10 million. That's the easiest decision of all time. They keep signing him to those deals, and Max loves staying there. It's like you guys said, not everybody goes for the top dollar.
No, really?
That's what I learned from listening to Foul Territory.
Sometimes you're just happy in a place.
Max is happy in a
place. And $10 million a year is not a bad salary.
No, it is not. Super underrated player. Glue guy.
Look at their numbers when he plays.
Quality plate appearance guy. It's a
great interview.
You can call us biased because he's one of our favorite guests, but talk to any Dodger, and that's one of the first players that comes up when they say, tell me about the core and what's super important here. We know Ohtani's good, stuff like that, but
he changes the at-bats, changes the lineup when he's in the game.
Some teams have done that in the past. Like, I know that was a thing with Carlos Santana in the middle of his career, right? Kratz knows the Phillies signed him. There were some issues there, but the Phillies initially were like, hey, we need better quality ABs. Let's find the guy who puts together great ABs. Here's Carlos Santana.
It permeates. It's like osmosis. Everybody follows along.
Mm-hmm. BetMGM players, get yourself a no-sweat token to apply to any bet on pro football. To use it, add a bet on a pro football event to your bet slip, activate the token, receive bonus bets if the bet that was made with the token loses. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
I think it's really interesting because, the analytics have become such a heavy part of coaching nowadays. And I had a hard time watching this team. Now, it may be because the Astros have kind of have run through all of these guys that were selectively aggressive. They were very good at zone command. They swung in the zone, and when they did, they made great contact. When it was outside the zone, they didn't chase. So we're starting to see maybe that generation of hitters kind of filter through the Astros and move on. The Bregmans, the Tuckers, some of these guys that were very good at in the zone type thing. And sometimes it becomes an institutional thing where you're not getting the approach taught at a lower level and developing these guys to get to the big leagues, because the idea is once you get to the big leagues, you're going to see more pitches inside the zone. Granted, guys are nastier, spin rates are off the charts, and the ball's moving all over the place, but they have a tendency to be closer to the zone. And that's where I kind of found some of my frustration maybe in the last couple of years watching Astros baseball is, especially in 2025. Granted, there was a lot of roster turnover, so Alex Cintron and Snicker had to work with a lot of different guys. But when you see a whiff rate escalate as quickly as it did, a contact rate drop as precipitously as it did, they were still making hard contact, but they weren't making hard contact in appropriate situations for me personally. I'm a RISP guy. I am a get a runner home from third base, less than 2 outs guy. Those are paramount numbers for me for a team to be successful, because the Astros will always do a good job of getting on base.
That's good stuff. That's your former teammate, Geoff Blum, who calls Astros games for years and was a guest on Crush City Territory, our Astros show. Your thoughts?
Listen, analytics are very useful. I want to make that abundantly clear. But there's also something to be said for guys that can do both. You can hit for power, and you can drive a guy in from third base with less than 2 outs.
We don't really use that stat to evaluate players.
I know, but the goal of a game is to score more runs than the other team. So if you have the opportunity to drive a runner in, a run batted in, that means you're helping your team score runs, right? And if you don't strike out with a runner on third and less than 2 outs, and you can hit that sac fly, or you can infield's back and you hit the ground ball to second and get that runner in, that's a big deal. Like, give me those guys. Give me the guys that can get a guy over from second with less than 2 outs, can do some different things, because it puts pressure on the defense, because the strikeout, it's like, hey, struck out, now what? On to the next, right? Like, again, but I get analytics, and there are times where, yes, go for the homers. But there are also times where you might have to do some little things.
Right?
What's that?
Hit a ball to the right side.
Yeah, listen, I understand analytics, and I agree with it.
Analytics are a great way to build a team. Baseball and making contact. You're just talking about hitting, making contact, being able to change your swing to be able to hit the inside of the ball to move a runner, pull hook something if you're a lefty to try to get the runner over. Like, those are things that win you the ball games. So if you build your team based on analytics, I agree with that. But you can't run it and play it every single day going, here comes a 2-run dinger. I know we're down by 1, and if I get this runner over to third, it's great, but it's even better if I get the runner in. Like, I saw people that were complaining about the IKF bunt with Vladdy on second and nobody out, and moving him to third with the World Series on the line. Like, I saw people complaining about it. You have 3 outs and you give 1 away. Took a really good play to make the play. Like, there's things that you need to do to win games. Like AJ said, scoring runs wins you the game if you score more than the other team. OPS differential.
Let me ask you this, though, Kratz, of what you just said. You just said you want to build your team with analytics, but then you also have to have this other guy. How can you do both then? Because if you if you just build your team off analytics, then you also that doesn't, as Scott said, include certain things that aren't necessarily statistically, found. So how do you do both?
We're talking about a lineup, right? Or just because that's what Blummer was talking about. I want the guys to hit the ball as possibly hard as they can hit it. And then I'm going to have coaches who say, you know what? You hit this ball so freaking hard, we need you to be able to make this adjustment. In your 600 at-bats, maybe in 100 of them, maybe in 50 of them to help us win the game. We're not just swinging for the downs, okay? Analytically, you can find guys who steal bases. Doesn't mean analytics likes stolen bases. It just means you got to find guys that are efficient in it, proficient in it. I'm trying to think what else, because people say, oh, analytics, all they care about is the 3 true outcomes. You are correct. So build your team with guys that hit the ball really freaking hard and then say, how can we make an adjustment when this type of pitcher is pitching against us to be able to get the job done? You can't just be a lineup that's like, oh boy, you're facing a Cam Schlittler, you're facing a Trey Savage. You have no chance to wear him down because of your swings. You have to be able, and that's where I think the coaches come in. I think that's where the coach is understanding that the reason this guy hits the ball hard is because he is full sell in everything in every one of his swings. How can you teach him to stay in the zone longer? How can you teach him to be okay with hitting 35 homers instead of 40? That's going to be the teams that make that adjustment. That take your team to the next level.
You can't, though. That's what you just said. You can't, because you just talked about the Yankees. Congratulations. How are they doing in these situations? They stink at them usually.
But I'm saying you have to be able to change.
They're not going. Players aren't going to, because the Yankees. I'm using the Yankees for example. They want the hard guys that hit the ball hard. We don't want them to change. We want homers. Swing hard. Anthony Volpe. If Anthony Volpe didn't try to hit 25 to 30 homers a year, cut down on his swing, his batting average would go up, his OBP would probably go up, his power would go down, and he could steal more bases. But what is he going to get paid for? Hitting homers. So that's what they all try to do. That's the bottom line. So yes, what Blummer's saying, I agree with. But at the end of the day, players and their agents say, man, you got to hit the ball out of the park and you got to drive the ball, because that's how you're going to get paid.
Yep, quick.
Okay. What did Max Muncy say?
Answer in the break. Hold on. We'll continue for 2 minutes. Go ahead, EK. All you, baby.
I mean, what did Max Muncy say? In the World Series, he didn't care that he went 0-for-7 in that one game. There is a way, in my opinion, to take the analytics to create the team that is going to be the best team you can possibly put out there based on analytics. Then when it comes to the games, we got to have different conversations. Why did we pick you up? It was because you hit the ball really hard. And the Yankees, because we were talking about the Yankees, they picked up a lot of guys. They tried to get, at one point, they had 3 of the hardest hitting players in the big leagues, and they had 2 dudes in the minor leagues that were the hardest exit velocity. You just said you build your team off that. Those guys that usually have the highest exit velocity strike out a lot. Giancarlo Stanton. Aaron Judge swings and misses more than anybody. You can't coach him, though, unless you start at a younger age in the minor leagues and develop that, which they don't do, because how do they get to the big leagues? By hitting the ball hard in the Yankees organization and hitting homers. Hey, that's how they get to the big leagues. Right or wrong?
This sounds like Dave Popkins of the Blue Jays this year, and how he helped players craft.
But they have different types of players, though.
Yes.
They have different types of players.
Yeah,
they don't have all home run guys.
Right, but Popkins would go to Volpe, right? Theoretically.
But he's not Volpe's
I'm not
coach.
calling out Yanks hitting coach per
no,
se,
I know.
but
Nobody
just
is.
Development-wise, and be like, hey, dude, like, this might be more of the player that you are. Let's try to go down this path. Yankee fans, you could check.
But then Volpe's agent in his ear is going, don't listen to him, dude. You need to keep hitting homers, and you're going to keep getting paid. I'm just
lying, but I'm not going to say it.
You what?
His agent.
I don't even know who his agent is.
I think it's Jim Murray. It was Jim Murray.
Yeah, well, he actually called Rob Manfred and said, "Hey, Rob, what do you think here? Too soon?" But you know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, I can't.
I know that's funny. But you know what I'm saying, though?
Yeah.
It's like we can all use Popkins, but honestly, out of their guys, Ikea, Bo's a contact guy. Vladdy's always been a contact guy. Kirk's a contact guy, right? Springer's always been pretty decent at making contact. Varsho makes contact. Barger's probably the only guy that really swings, and he swings out of his ass.
Yep.
But he still makes pretty good contact. They don't have Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Volpe, these guys that are, Austin Wells that are just
bust.
Yes, they don't have those guys. So if you build your team off analytics, you get one or the other, and the one analytics wants, and the other one baseball people want.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning like old schooler, more old school people. It's fine, both work.
Mm-hmm.
The Dodgers have a great combo of both.
Correct. Yep.
All right, before we go, this is Pete Macheska. He's a Fox guy. He did the World Series for the last 22 years. He received the Tony Kubiak Polish Hall of Fame, National Sports Polish Hall of Fame Award for Media Excellence. They gave this to him during the World Series, so I wanted to give him some love. Welcome to the Hall of Fame, Pete. We love you. I love you. Welcome to the Polish Hall of Fame, buddy. It's something he'd been talking about for a while. We got him in. Now he's got to go give a speech. He retired from baseball. He's still doing football. One of the great guys in baseball and in media for baseball, always promoting baseball in the game. Just congratulations, Pete. I want to make sure that he got some love for that.
Yeah. Awesome baseball career, and his football career will continue producing wise.
Go, Pete.
He's got the Polish sausage.
Oh, man, he's got the most New Jersey accent you've ever. Go, Pete. Oh, it's unbelievable. He's just awesome.
I love me a good
Pete
Jersey
Macheska,
accent.
one of the best.
Congrats, Pete. For the YouTube crowd, we're going to stay on for a few minutes. I have a quote from Joe Musgrove. Remember, Joe Musgrove's coming back, if healthy. Good pitcher. Good pitcher. I'm saying when healthy, good pitcher. Why are you laughing?
Because you just said if healthy, he's coming back.
I'm saying I didn't mean it that way.
I know, but it was just the way it
came out. The way I meant it is when Joe's healthy,
he's pretty good.
That's a nice guy to have in the rotation. He wasn't there this year. Quote on the Stammen hire. Quote, a little surprised at first, didn't even know he was even considering taking a role like that, but knowing he's in that spot, I couldn't be more excited. Level of respect he has from everyone in that clubhouse. I'm extremely excited. That's Marty Caswell reporting on that quote from Mr. Musgrove. So they didn't know he was going for it. I wonder how it all went down. And
he probably didn't even have to interview.
There will be a great story about how it happened, because it had to be a conversation where either he said, hey, I'm interested in this, or Preller said, hey, I think you'd be good at this.
The answer obviously was yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you need to know. That quote's all you need to know.
I love the surprise hire. So many people were just auto Pujols, and this goes to show a 9.5 hour meeting, which was what it was reported for Pujols in his in-person, doesn't mean shit, and probably is a little too long.
9.5 hours?
I
can't sit with anybody for 9.5 hours.
If
I'm on a plane overseas, man, there's at least a 3-hour nap.
Right.
Get a break from whoever's sitting next to me.
For me, that would be at least 2, if not 3 meals. There's a lot going on in the 9.5 hours.
9.5 hours.
Right.
The bathroom. There's a lot of sharing a bathroom in the minor leagues in that 9.5 hours.
Nobody wants to see me eat a meal either. I'm getting fired. I'm halfway through and I'm eating, and they're watching me. They're like, "Oh, sorry, this interview's over."
Yeah, so you skipped the meal, right? I would too. I'd be annoying.
You just have smoothies, Scott.
I did an interview once with a team for a broadcast role, and the guy took me out to lunch, and it was one of those, it's one of their places, so he ordered everything, and I'm like, I got bad news for you, bud. This is not going to go well. I have a lot of allergies. You cannot order for me. I did not get the job. All right, Dodgers territory. Yeah, I am bougie. Dodgers territory coming up next. Hope you enjoyed the show today, because we have another one tomorrow, Friday. Kevin Pillar is back on the show with us for Friday's episode.